Omelette
Hey.
du fromage.
Now you do the omelette du fromage?
It was my idea.
Like 2 weeks ago.
I'm very dumb.
I sent that as a gift to somebody recently.
Omelette du fromage. Hey, everybody. We are talking about She-Hulk Episode 8. I am joined by the beautiful folks, Dan and Brutal Richard, and special guest again, Till Plays. Welcome.
Time to rip it and rip it!
Hell yeah. And I have been, ever since we watched, or not even ever since I watched this episode, ever since we talked about Andor, and we ended off with him, or with Richard, being ominous as hell about his opinion on this episode. I need to know, Richard, right off the bat, what is your vibe? I've been waiting.
I had a great deal of fun with this episode.
Finally, we fucking got there in the end.
Still sucks.
Shut up, Richard. You
Okay,
had us in the first half.
Fair, but I appreciate the positivity, at least in a certain regard.
I am barely positive. Like, I had fun with this episode, and I would say that if this episode were in any other show, if this were in Daredevil, it would be the worst episode in it. But because She-Hulk is just a massive pile of shit, this episode was refreshing.
Yeah, like this, I would say, honestly, in my opinion, too, like, this has been my favorite episode. Like, everything about it kind of just came together from everything that developed in the show. I mean, of course, it is at the very end of the show, so we're hoping to get some of these developments happening. So it's kind of worrisome for the next episode, per se, but, like, I liked it. It was a good culmination, I thought.
It's the first time I've watched an episode of this show and wasn't just, like, furiously writing notes.
I feel like we're gonna... Oh, yeah, done? Yep. Oh, was that Dan leaving?
No, I'm still there.
Oh, what did you just say, man?
I just started laughing.
Oh, okay.
Get it together, man.
Something.
No.
Can't tell from your accent sometimes.
I wasn't able to listen to the previous podcast. Well, just like quick summary, like what do you guys think of the last episode?
Ooh.
I hate this show.
No, I understand that.
I enjoyed the last episode. It was like really nice, and it had nice comedic bits that I enjoyed. I still think it was kind of meh, in all honesty, but like it had, especially when Jen had her monologue about why it sucks. I like that. Like that was at least some.
Give an explainer to the character, like the questions we've been asking, like what is wrong with Jen in a sense, or like why is she acting a specific way? It just kind of gives that explainer. Which I mean I picked up on throughout the show, but it's more spelled out, I guess.
I wish that like,
it just comes across as selfish.
I really wish they did bring up the drinking thing though, like in that moment as well.
Yep.
That like they.
Oh,
that
lo and behold, she's
further.
She's drinking again in this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Every episode, she's drinking because Jen's an alcoholic, but that's cool.
It felt kind of weird. How did you feel, Till, about? Oh, I'm gonna forget his name again. The vampire character, because I know that on
he's not a. I've been recording my reactions to these episodes for my own for Spawn Trap. Just haven't been putting them up as quickly as I would like. But I will say I don't think he's a vampire. He's obviously what Blonsky says. He thinks he's a vampire.
He's a daywalker, man.
Yeah, he's out in the daylight. I think he might be like a familiar or whatever they're called from Blade, where like he wants to be a vampire. So
I just love that guy so much. He was probably the highlight for me of the last episode.
Yeah, I think he's the opposite. I think he's actually in Marvel, in Blade, he's one of the first vampires. So I think he's actually a vampire. Well, he's just so incredibly powerful that it's just nothing.
Yeah,
maybe. If that were true and they like that was exactly what we were saying with the Mephisto thing. That would have been amazing if they dropped it in that way. Like, oh yeah, here's a big player for Phase 7
unfortunately,
or whatever.
I think that's giving way too much credit to this writing team. So
exactly.
I'm a huge fan of making fun of D-list villains from comics in a comedy. So I had a lot of fun with the last episode. I'm mostly familiar with Porcupine as the babysitter for Spider-Woman's kid. So it was interesting seeing that character show up too. But overall, I did like the last episode.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I enjoyed the vibe of it, but I think when you look at it, like again, like how we say, like this is a 9-episode show. It's got the most episodes so far, I think, of a Marvel show. I just feel like there's a lot of fluff that they always add to these shows when they're like as long as they are. We're talking about
this is a fluff show.
Pardon?
This is a fluff show.
Yeah,
like the show is mostly fluff.
We're talking about that a lot with Andor because that is a very slow show. That is the longest Star Wars show. Yeah, it's a hard sentence. Star Wars show so far, and we're feeling it. It's like already only like 4 episodes in. It's like woof.
Yeah, Andor's the opposite of fluff, where it is just straight story, and they are unapologetic about putting it in your face, whether it's boring or not.
Gotcha.
And I don't know how to feel about that a lot of the time.
I'll say that this episode
more than She-Hulk, in my opinion.
It's what now?
So I'd rather it be told the way that Andor's doing it than the way that She-Hulk's doing it.
Oh, 100%. I completely agree. I would prefer if no TV show ever were presented as She-Hulk is.
See, I don't know if I would, but like, I don't know if I agree necessarily in like certain ways. Like, because to me, it's just like if Andor was shorter, I think it would be better. That's the only thing that I think it needed to be. But because like then they would be like more constricted on what they have to show all the time. Because holy crap, sometimes we're just like really treading water to get to certain points in that show. But with She-Hulk, at least you know that it's going to be a gimmick of the week kind of thing every time. I kind of I'm into that with this kind of character, I think. So
yeah, I had a pretty fun time with this episode. I have my complaints. That's, I do. But I did think that for the first time in the show, Jen was actually entertaining to watch. I thought she was cute and funny instead of selfish and shitty that she's been for the rest of the show. And she finally got to do some cool shit. It was nice to be able to see her actually do things. And I got to say, even though I don't ship it, I think her chemistry with Charlie Cox was great. I mean, from an acting perspective,
dude. I'm like the worst because like when I noticed things happening, I was like, "Oh my god, things are happening! Are they going to actually happen?" And then it happened. Oh,
gross,
man! I was elated when it happened.
Turned Daredevil's character into just a side piece for Jen.
But like he can be right now, and then he'll be his main thing for 18 episodes. Like what? I don't know. Like
both of those characters have well been established that they get around.
Like I would even be cool with it being like a thing. I don't want to be that guy, but I like things. Be together.
I don't like that the first time we're seeing the best thing that Marvel has ever made being put back into a TV show. It's in fucking She-Hulk's show as a side piece. I think that's gross.
Well, not. You're wrong. I mean, he was a side piece in Spider-Man. So I mean, but like he was in there. So.
No, I mean literally, like as like just like this is the thing that Jen's gonna fuck, and then it's done.
But he's like throughout his whole show, like his best friend like kept talking about like how he always got laid.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care that Daredevil fucks. There's a lot of people online right now that are saying, "Oh, Daredevil's a Catholic. He wouldn't have sex before." Man, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I grew up Catholic. I have never in my life known a Catholic that refuses to have.
He
sex.
also beats people up like to near death.
It's the whole point of his character is that he's a very flawed Catholic.
Yeah,
but so I don't care that Daredevil fucks. I just hate that the first time we're seeing Daredevil come back into the Marvel universe is just to be a literal side piece for She-Hulk.
But like, I don't. Because like this could be the beginning of something beautiful. Like, what if in Daredevil,
I hope not.
She shows up and it's like, hey, like I've got a case and like.
Listen, we're gonna get more Daredevil. So
if the writing's gonna be good, cool. I'm fine with shipping it if the writing's good. And I will say that I think Tatiana and Charlie Cox have fantastic chemistry. So I would like to see them expand on that in a way where the writing is good.
Mm-hmm.
I just haven't seen that yet.
Do not let the She-Hulk rise anywhere near these two characters after this project, and we should be all right.
They need to be fired and locked in a cage somewhere, thrown into a river.
Get them out. Get them out.
I'm just tired of it, man. Like this entire I don't understand what this show is. It just feels like a $1 million therapy session for women in their 30s rapidly approaching middle age. It's just gross.
Yeah, I said it before. It doesn't appeal to anyone.
No, I don't know who this show's for.
Like, at least it only appeals to specific, like middle class white women in America. Nowhere else in the world, right? Nowhere else in America. It's like, who is it you're trying to filter here? You know,
Well, it's one of my biggest issues is like every man in this show, including Daredevil. There's not a single guy in this show that behaves in any way like any man I've ever met in my life. It's just absurd. Everyone's just a caricature of what a man is.
Well, it's how do I explain this without being on the nose? The men described in this show is how you would expect, like one of those sorts of SJW videos where someone just like constantly shitting on someone. That's like how they would describe them, and that's how they've gone with it. And it's like, well, it's not exactly accurate, but all right, I guess I accept it.
That's
I've seen people like this exist. It's not that.
Oh yeah, there's no disputing that people do exist.
Sure.
But every man in the show being like that.
Also, this is LA, isn't it? Isn't this like the hotbed of these kind of people?
What, like shitty people?
Yeah.
I guess.
Douchebags.
I'm a very social guy. I've hosted events. I've been on stage. I've been a stage performing musician for most of my life. I'm very social, and I've never seen people like this. It's just, it's bonkers. I've just never seen anybody like this. Like, sure, there's aspects of these guys that exist within people. Absolutely. But it's not, you don't just go for a walk and every man you encounter is a shithead creep or a weirdo.
I don't know. You say that, there was that video that came out like years ago that kind of showed the opposite, but I get that that's not like
women with the phone in her back pocket.
Something like that.
Is that the video? Yeah.
Every
single guy looked better.
Videos, like in the last 10 years doing the kind of exact same thing, but some of them probably are a little skewed or something like that, but I get what you're saying. But
I mean, if you're going for a walk down a very popular street with a ton of people on it, and you have somebody walking directly behind you with a camera, you're gonna get reactions.
But I think it was more so, wasn't it like not prominently shown? Like, wasn't it like hidden?
Yeah, it was like concealed in her back pocket. It wasn't like out there. Everybody was staring at her ass.
Regardless, I do think that this episode was pretty damn fun. I liked seeing Daredevil do stuff, even though I wish that it were less CG Daredevil doing stuff. See, I would have liked to have seen.
Noticed that? I think they just went a little extra with what they were showing. Right, like
Marvel goes hard on the CG. Like,
you didn't notice that Daredevil was CG?
I mean, I've noticed it, of course, when he's like going down the side of the building when it's like crazy stuff. But I mean, like
any sort of acrobatic.
I'm fine with it being like the case when it's crazy stuff.
Also, when she takes his helmet off,
rubber.
and it was. I mean, when she takes his helmet off too, I've noticed this on a lot of characters and a lot of more recent Marvel stuff. The costumes make no sense. And they just they kind of like transform based on the need of the scene, because he takes his helmet off and he's wearing like some sort of like thing around his head, but it disappears when she takes his helmet off. Yeah,
it's like the Michael Keaton Batman thing all over again.
Yeah, so it's like I was like, well, that's weird. That part of the suit disappeared, but it wasn't really like necessary to the story. So they just
he's clearly wearing like some kind of like Kevlar hood.
And there's a behind the scenes photo. Yeah, there's a behind the scenes photo that he has with him actually wearing the thing, but I guess like he didn't have it on during that scene. So that
I do think even though it was CG, Daredevil had this one moment where he like ducks a punch from She-Hulk and like drops all the way to the ground and then pops back up and runs, and I'm like, man, that was CG, but that shit was cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. I liked their like interactions like all together. I'm not, in all honesty, like anytime
I mostly did.
Yeah, like anytime they were like even the joke stuff, because it really reminded me of the comics where these two characters would interact and like they would say these kind of things. Where because when she said like, "Are you actually just pretending to be blind?" Like because that would be problematic. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I know I have a lot of like bad shit to say, but I do have some good shit to say too. So just for example, I watch a lot of YouTubers who are in the space of like, I hate this show. God, women suck. This show hates men. I see a lot of guys doing that, and a lot of YouTubers that I follow hated this episode. And I've watched their thoughts on it, and I'm like, okay, you guys are really just reaching at this point. Like, this episode was fun. Can we just calm down a little bit? So I think that a lot of the YouTubers out there, I think there's a little bit of like forced hatred, where it's like, well, I'm gonna get more views if I hate it.
We're looking at you, Geeks and Gamers, and like all those channels, like Critical
Drinker, Nerdrotic, all these guys are like, I mostly like these guys. I genuinely do, and I almost always agree with them. But at this point, it's like, guys, just remember it's a dumb comic book show, please.
Yeah.
Just take it with a pinch of salt. It's not real. That's
Right.
the
Yeah.
beauty of it.
Like, just simmer down. Like, I think at the second that you're getting like that extreme hate perspective from something, it's like you gotta like pull back and
You gotta
I think
walk
like
away.
you said last week, you gotta touch some grass. Like
Touch
all-
some
Yeah.
fucking
in
grass.
all honesty.
And also maybe surround yourself with people with different opinions, you know? Like we can get on this show and we can all have different opinions about the same show. And at the end of the day, none of us are like smashing mirrors in our houses, you know? Fucking calm down.
unless
Yeah,
we get off
threatening
stream and
to
suddenly
strike
like
each other out.
you turn on your cameras and all the furniture behind you is destroyed after a stream.
I fucking hate She-Hulk.
Smashed all my windows.
I will
I
say,
think that go ahead, Till.
I will say I don't care so much about CG versus practical in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because it's well established they'll use CG for anything, even
Yeah.
for costumes, helmets, because it's easier for them to put that in post than to deal with making the stuff on set and having the actors try to work around it. So like I'm not phased so much by mostly CG, but having, you know, we're critical of She-Hulk CG because it's an entirely CG character that looks completely different to what we're used to from like the
Yeah.
Hulk as an example. But I think it's easy to point out where their priorities lie for the special effects for She-Hulk throughout this show. Because she looked great in the action scenes, just like she did in the first episode, fighting the Hulk, and then like the lawyer scenes and all that stuff.
I think it really has had to
wasn't
do
so
with the
great.
clothing, like that she's
Yeah.
been put in, right? Like now that she's
It
got
makes a
these
big
suits,
difference.
like the suits even help, like that they're properly animated around her, not looking like she's like they said like a football player or whatever. That's like
But I think they also just want to like add more focus because we heard about like the crunch and stuff
Yeah.
before, like for this show, and how they moved up the release date, I believe, and the VFX artists weren't warned. Like they had a shorter time to work on everything. So I think they sort of chose their priorities. Like, oh, this scene's going to be more important and more memorable. We need to make it look good before anything else.
Yeah. With the Daredevil thing, I really don't care that it was so much CG. I think it was just a little bit more jarring to me because in the Daredevil show, it's barely CG.
Yeah.
So it was just so much more noticeable to see Daredevil not actually even being there. Whereas in his show, it's like boots on the ground level shit, you know?
yeah, and
Yeah.
like I get like that there's a want for both. I think because like when I think of what I would want out of a Daredevil show, there is just like because the show was good, but I always wanted that next step to happen where he could do more, and it just never.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, it was so boots on the ground, so realistically filmed that it just kind of couldn't get to that point.
I mean, Daredevil's supposed to be like so overly like acrobatic from the comics.
Yeah, impossibly acrobatic.
Yeah, where you can't like a different production company for a Netflix show had to do everything practical, versus what Marvel Studios can do with VFX to make it more like the comics.
Right.
You know, it's
yeah,
completely
I can
different.
let it go too, just because of that. Like, it is still cool to see Daredevil doing Daredevil stuff.
Did he use his like? Because what are they called? Like the batons have like the wire attachment thing. Like, did he use that a lot in the Netflix show? I can't remember.
I think in the third season he used it. I'm going
yeah.
through a
Didn't
I'm going through a
watch that.
rewatch right now, and I'm not up to the third season yet, so I don't remember.
Because even when that showed up in this, I was like, "Oh, that's great! Like, use that."
I don't remember him ever using them in the Netflix show, but it's been years since I've seen it.
I remember Melvin Potter making him the sort of like a hook feature for the batons, but I don't
Okay.
remember exactly what happened. But I'm pretty sure it was in the third season.
So do you guys
I'll
think that
be
this show
right back.
confirmed?
All good, man.
Do you guys think this show or this episode confirmed the Netflix show, or is it a different Daredevil, or what are we doing here?
So I'm like heavily invested in this. It's been pissing me off, and people on the internet are just making me mad. I've always been on the stance the shows are canon.
Yeah, me too.
And and people like sort of like bend over backwards to make excuses for why it's not for no reason other than my theory is that they just hate Iron Fist and they can't imagine a world where Iron Fist is canon in the MCU. But no, this show did not confirm one way or the other.
Yeah, they kind of skated around it.
Case. Yeah. I mean, you can look at what he was talking about from his backstory lines up with what was in the Netflix shows, but that's about it.
True. I just wish that they would just give us a damn throw me a bone, man. Like what do you guys consider canon and what's not canon? Because I always took the Netflix shows as canon. I think they had enough references to what was going on in the outer MCU to where it lined up.
People treat this as like two separate entities, like where one was like sort of forcing its like I guess they're like considering it like Sony's universe, trying to force their way into the MCU, when it wasn't the case. There was Marvel TV and Marvel Studios, and they were both under the umbrella of Marvel Entertainment, and both of these like projects were presented and pitched as everything's connected and that they're set in the MCU. So there's like, now that the reason why these shows got canceled for the most part, I mean, there's like political drama and everything behind the scenes from Marvel, but this was before Disney Plus. Marvel, Disney wanted Disney Plus to be a thing. They wanted all their properties, as much properties as possible, on their platform, and they needed rights back to these characters. So they swiftly canceled every single show on Netflix all at once. So that way they had to wait out the clock and get rights to these characters back. But it's like they initially, before Disney Plus, like this was their way to introduce those characters and present them as MCU canon. But now Kevin Feige is kind of in control of all of Marvel Studios. Marvel TV is not a thing anymore. It's all under one umbrella. And people have it in their head like, oh, if Kevin Feige didn't have any sort of say on anything, then obviously it's not canon. When that's not the case. It's like there's positions above Kevin Feige. There's Marvel Entertainment as a whole.
This also
that's
like
all this stuff
like
up.
you guys are saying, there's such little stuff kind of affected by the Netflix stuff that why wouldn't you just allow it to be canon? Like it doesn't
much more easier just to keep it that way than just say to add audience confusion and say, oh, these shows exist on our platform, by the way, you can watch them right now, but they don't matter to anything else.
Yeah,
so
but they're in an alternate universe. It's like, well, fucking hell, man.
Yeah, and it's kind of silly because it's all street level stuff anyway.
Yeah. It's very bare bones. Like, all of that could have existed. Like, my only thing with those Netflix shows for reference points was like that they never committed to saying things. Like, they would always be like, yeah, the big green guy, or like the guy. They would literally be like the guy with the flag, and I'm like, you can say these names, people. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, the only counter I have to that is that they did outright say in the first season of Daredevil, they outright referenced the attack on New York.
They called it the incident.
Yeah, they always are like, the incident. I'm like, man, just say the aliens attacked New York and stuff like that. Like, just like,
well, they've mentioned like aliens attacked or a piece of a building fell on somebody I knew or whatever. They have directly mentioned characters before. There's I remember
it's set up
season 2 of
precedent
Jessica Jones
at like the early point at least, that like there would be effective things happening throughout it. I don't know. Like,
did they really need to though?
I think in certain regards it would have been cool. Like if like a new season of each show came out, or like I wish that they had properly done Defenders in a way that it made sense. They could have done multiple of those to deal with the bigger effects, right? Like if they had done a season where like the Sokovia Accords come out and it's like, oh crap, like how are we all going to deal with like having to be registered? I guess they're all known.
Yeah, they go by their names.
Daredevil. Daredevil, I guess. Yeah, you got me there. So like that would be like the character who would be like, yeah, like I don't want to be known. So like, no, I don't want this. Like, so
really in the MCU, like prior to Phase 4, it was just Daredevil and Spider-Man that had secret identities. Everybody else didn't.
Yeah. True. I mean, it's not really about the identity. I guess it's more about like the concept of being limited. I think that would be a thing in the discussion there. Then I think that
I do think that when they played they did play Daredevil's theme in this show, which I think is kind of like a soft confirmation.
Well, and the argument to that a lot of people are making is that the X-Men theme in Miss Marvel didn't confirm that it's part of the 90s X-Men universe.
Oh, but it's just something that we like. I don't know. We just associate that more with X-Men in a broad scheme than we do with with that. I feel, like this was a specific Netflix Daredevil show, unless it's referencing some other Daredevil media that I'm
one
not
that
aware
was intentionally written to be part of the MCU. That's where my
So I
frustration
think
is.
it's
Like,
in.
Jesus, just let it be.
When they come out with
I
Daredevil
mean, they
Born
also
again, like
they
they'll
also
address
did
stuff. I imagine.
they also did the Spider-Man cartoon theme in all of the Spider-Man movies.
Because that theme is dope, and like
Yeah.
it's
Well, so is the X-Men theme.
exactly that's what I'm saying. But I
Yeah,
mean, like
true.
it's not making it associate necessarily. It's just like a
Yeah,
dope theme. Like when you hear that X-Men theme come on, oh man, like that is hype. I love it. Spider-Man 2,
True.
but man.
I wish that the writing in this episode were more present in the rest of the season.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
This is by far
Yeah.
the best that this show has been, and this show would not be dealing with the backlash that it's receiving if every episode was written like this one.
It just had a different energy. Like it was so
It really did.
It was popping off at certain points.
Well, it had energy.
The other
This is
They were-
yeah.
things
This
were
is
happening.
this is the tone and direction that I think the rest of the series should have been.
For sure.
Yeah, especially with what we've been saying. Like, man, recently did like these two shows, Andor and She-Hulk, really encompass the fact that certain episodes could have been squished together, certain episodes could have been made into one thing, just more condensed. Like, I think that
Well,
would
I
have helped
think-
a lot.
The difference to me comes down to like in Andor, like it could benefit from some condensing, but the story is still there. She-Hulk, on the other hand, has just straight up entire episodes that don't need to exist.
Yeah,
Like
there's
some of this
there's
stuff
no
is just like
broader
this is
story.
pointless.
Oh yeah,
it's-
like they don't
it's all
progress the story. Like,
culminating to the last episode.
as we've said, pretty much like this show has no story. Like they don't have like a direction that they're really going until like
It's just
we're saying at the very end
yeah.
with intelligentsia. But it's like that stuff is so not present that it's
Pretty much like the entire show, like a couple episodes, they've brought up the intelligentsia, and that's it. Now
Yeah,
we're going to
it's
get
just like an
the final
afterthought.
story at the last episode.
I will say that the fourth wall break at the end of this episode was the first time I think it was handled very well.
Where she just stares at the camera.
I
Yeah,
I
and
think
she actually has like a full discussion with the camera.
the mid
Oh,
the
that
midpoint
one. Yeah, yeah.
where it was
Yeah,
like
midpoint,
she was
yeah.
like, you guys are
This-
still here, like what's happening?
Yeah, the episode's supposed to be over here. Yeah, she
I thought that
name
was
dropped
good.
Red Hulk too.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think it further confirms my theory that they're going to be setting up the intelligentsia as the way to introduce Red Hulk in Captain America: New World Order.
Do you? Because I know that we missed this for when we were doing our Spawn Trap discussion, but that Harrison Ford was apparently rumored to.
Oh fuck yeah!
And I don't.
It was like right after we recorded.
After we streamed, it's like, God damn it, really? I
Yeah.
don't know how to feel about that, considering Harrison
I think that's
Ford
great.
hates doing anything. But like,
Yeah, that's true. Like at any point you can like they'll have him sign on board, and then he'll be like, "Fuck this, I hate doing this," and then they're gonna have to recast
he'll
again.
go and fly another plane again, and we all know how that goes every time he does that. Jesus, dude, stop flying, please.
You're like 90. Get out of the
Get
plane.
out of that thing.
Do you guys okay? Do you guys think that Jen really deserves to be one of the female lawyers of the year? Because I
Man,
don't.
that bummed me out, man. I'm not gonna lie, because I felt that scene in a way. Like I not
Oh,
felt
God.
it, but I was
So-
just like, oh shit, that sucks.
I hated the whole female lawyer of the year bit. It's just on the
Yeah,
nose. I like
well,
what came
I
after
think-
it though.
I think they did it because you're supposed to hate it. Like I hated it.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't like it, but I also thought it was
Yeah.
just this is just super on the nose. I love what came afterwards, and I love that Intelligentsia used humiliation as a tactic. And it's the
Well,
first
yeah, that's
time in this show
expected.
that I actually felt bad for Jen.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that coming because we saw like Josh take the picture and
Yeah.
everything. Like, yeah, they're gonna try to discredit her.
It was nice to see. I hate to say this, consequences for her actions, even if it was super fucked up. And it was also nice to see that she does have a rage problem.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that was the goal, is to push her to the point where people will see her as a threat.
Mm-hmm.
That whole ending pissed me off so much because I was like, they started doing that, and I'm like, oh, Jen, smash the screens. And then everybody's telling her like, don't do it. I'm like, no, fuck them, smash the screens. She smashed screens. I'm like, yeah, good job. And everybody's like freaking out. I'm like, if I was there, I saw this happening to her, I'd be like, yeah, she should have smashed the screens. Like I wouldn't be running out of the building in fear.
I
think
actually
that
felt
only
the
problem
opposite.
is that like when she starts smashing the screens, it causes like
Yeah.
way more cataclysmic problems that like could not be foreseen. Like she smashes the screens to an extent where it's like, holy shit, the whole place is coming down, you know, like.
And only Nikki got up to like help her. Like everybody else is just like, let's just stand here and let this happen. It pissed me off.
I felt the other way around. I think that was the only scene in this episode that I genuinely enjoyed because it shows that there are consequences for her behaving selfishly. It shows that she is afraid, and rightly so, of people thinking of her as a monster, and she's not well known enough for people to actually trust her to control her rage. So of course they ran. I would have run.
And it's even to a point, like, at the very end there, is she in control? Like, is she...
Right. I don't think she fully was here.
She's not speaking. She's snarling the whole time. Like, it's...
Yeah, her voice was different, too. Like, they had, like, an effect on her voice. Like, she was completely different in that scene.
Yeah,
and I think it's important to put yourself in the shoes of the people that live in the MCU, like the regular people who have seen the Hulk go batshit. So, yeah, I think it's perfectly reasonable for them to have run away. I would have been scared shitless, too.
I will say She-Hulk does at times.
Richard would have ran because he's afraid of women. Shut the fuck up, dude.
I was trying to ignore that comment.
You know it. Dude.
She-Hulk has gone like full Hulk mode in the comics before, and I was expecting at some point she's going to do that in the show. I guess I wasn't really expecting it in that way.
I really enjoyed it. I will say, even though I didn't necessarily mind She-Hulk and Daredevil getting together. I don't like it, but I thought they were cute as like I thought that the acting, the chemistry was there enough for me to believe it. I do think Daredevil doing a walk of shame was fucking stupid though.
That was so fucking funny.
I hated that. Like aside from the fact that I think my honest opinion, go back and watch that scene. It's the worst CG in the show. It's very clear that Charlie Cox is not there. Yeah, he's not.
Really?
Yeah, if you look at his,
why would they not make that a guy in a suit? Are you kidding me? Let me go back to this part.
No, it's Charlie Cox walking, but he's not in that location. You can see his feet. Like the green screen effect's bad.
Yeah, probably to avoid, like behind the scenes leaks and stuff.
I think it was a reshoot. I think it probably came after they had to restructure the whole show.
I'm looking.
I just don't think it makes sense.
Hell, that is so weird when you watch it and notice it.
Yeah, it was jarring to me. Like, oh man, that is very clearly Charlie Cox in front of a green screen.
Richard, I think the quality of your TV being so good is hindering your experience of watching the shows. Because holy fuck, I did not see that on my TV. Holy.
I watched this episode on my computer monitor, so I kind of wish I watched it on my TV.
Did you notice it, Till?
No, I wasn't really paying attention to that. So no.
Oh man, it was like jarring for me. I was like, well, the first thing I looked at was his feet because I'm like, is he barefoot? Is he carrying his boots like they're fucking high heels? What is this?
Yeah, he is. The walk of shame. The walk of shame.
Look, man,
he's also blind.
He's
feeling around the grass. I guess I don't know.
Dudes have the stride of pride, bro, not the walk of shame. That's not a thing that men do. Sorry, but
I think it was
goofy.
Like funny. It was a funny reversal.
I thought it was a little silly. Like Daredevil's just kind of like barefoot walk out of her house and walk home. Like what?
It pretty like because to me like that was the last panel of the comic right there. Like that's what you would see. Yeah. Just Daredevil shoeless walking, people like pointing and looking like, look, it's Daredevil, and he'd be like, yeah, it's me.
Fair enough. I didn't hate it. It's just silly. It's silly in a direction that I don't like, but it's silly.
Like, it's good. What I expected from Daredevil in this episode, honestly, was that they were going to do a thing where he was going to go too far at one point. Like, because she was going to be like, whoa, dude, like, we don't do that here, or something like that. Like, you're beating that guy's head into a door. What are you doing?
No.
She's throwing cars at people, though.
Yeah. True. But they always bounce away. They always bounce away. I like that they brought that up with the property damage thing. He's like, yeah, I could have done this without all the property damage that you do.
Yeah, like, what is she going to do now? Like, she says she's going to leave a note. Like, are you going to pay for that person's car?
Like, you know how this works, right? You are a lawyer.
You just threw someone's entire vehicle. They didn't do anything.
What do you guys think of the suit?
I liked it. Like, considering that her suit has kind of always been meh to me. Like, I think
her suit or Daredevil's suit.
Oh, I mean,
I guess I was asking about Daredevil, but I guess both of them.
Oh, okay.
I think her suit looks great. Her suit looked fantastic.
I like her suit.
His suit was okay.
Because like the joke is that like it's like it was being painted, right?
I don't know. I didn't catch that.
Because wasn't like the helmet when we saw it a couple episodes ago, like that color, and it was like not done yet. It looked like it was still being worked on, like painted.
I think it's supposed to be that color. I don't think it's yellow enough. I think it comes. It
Needs to be,
maybe
like,
it's like a
bright
color
yellow.
correction thing, but it just looks like a really like off white to me. I don't know. It doesn't look yellow enough. I want it to be like bright yellow like it is in the comics. You know.
Mm.
I mean, if they were gonna go in that direction for sure. But, okay, now I'm trying to like look at it and see if like, because like I thought like what I got from it is that he's literally being this guy's lawyer in a sense because he's working on his outfit and currently his job is like meh or not meh, but it's like midway through and he's like, well shit, he's gotten captured. I need him to finish my costume. So that's why he was doing it in a sense. But I guess he's a good guy too, so maybe he's just helping. I don't know.
I think it's just Melvin Potter made it in a specific way to protect him and so that he can hear and everything as well. And I think a lot of the changes to his outfit are just Luke's style.
So are we gonna see
Yeah.
this in Born Again? You think then? Like, is it?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because
yellow
Marvel, the She-Hulk, like the people who worked on She-Hulk said the only sort of control that Marvel had on the show was making sure that they used this costume for She-Hulk. They didn't have any say on that, and I guess they had this costume in mind for Charlie Cox when they were working on Spider-Man: No Way Home, because he said they showed him the suit when he was on set for that, so they can like try it out and everything. So they've had this costume in the works for a long time.
My interpretation of that would even be something as crazy as that, like they wanted this one specifically for this show so that they could be like, oh, we did it, and then get to the red suit for the actual show.
No, I think Marvel Marvel Studios wants Daredevil in this look, and they're planning on using this look for Born Again.
I think they just want to sell toys.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
but, like if they were gonna do
That's
that,
what the MCU is.
But they would then make this a toy and then make the red suit another toy for the other show.
That's what I think that the next
Yeah.
show he's going to have that color suit for like an episode,
Okay.
and then it's
He
gone.
might have
He's got a
multiple
different
suits
suit.
throughout the entire show. Yeah.
Be like a red one for a
Yeah.
flashback, maybe.
Right, like he's 100%.
Flashback to the freaking like the ninja outfit they have. For
Yeah,
the first
dude.
season.
Yeah,
Spider-Man: No Way
different
Home.
toys.
Spider-Man had like 5 suits in that movie alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like simmer down, Funko Pops. Like you don't gotta make a goddamn one for all of these suits.
Well, because
Yeah,
I think Marvel has the rights to merchandising now on Spider-Man, right? So like that's where their money's coming
Yeah.
from is the toys and stuff that they release from those costumes.
Yeah, I expect we'll see Daredevil rock the yellow and red for a little while in the upcoming show, but hope it'll probably change.
It's 18 episodes, so
Yeah.
Damn,
Yeah.
is it really? Holy
That's
shit.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying, Richard. I was saying we're gonna be talking about that show for most of the year.
18 episodes.
I know.
What the hell is this going to even be
I
about?
complained in the Netflix era that there were too many episodes. Like 13 episodes was always like, holy shit, this is too long.
that's why I don't think it's going to be as like because Marvel doesn't really do long form like that ever.
No, they don't. It's crazy.
And the only reason because they like to use self-contained stories. There's no way there's an 18 episode self-contained story, and I don't know if Marvel wants to do like, hey, let's add in bullshit stuff like they did in the Netflix shows to extend the story and make it really long, add bullshit that we don't care about. I have a feeling they're using Daredevil as sort of a platform for like separate stories or to like usher in things back into the MCU, like
that
specific
street level
characters.
stuff, like Punisher, maybe.
Yeah,
like
maybe bring characters back rather than giving them their own show or movie or anything to reintroduce them.
Oh man,
So,
I don't want them to do Punisher.
It could be like a crossover.
there was something
thing.
about John Bernthal Punisher. I liked him in concept, but man, that show bored me when I watched it.
Oh man, I feel the opposite. I
Really?
love the shit out of
Yeah,
the show and John
great.
Bernthal.
I feel like most people love the show. Yeah,
I did not
I am
like that show that
terrified
much.
that Disney's gonna neuter the Punisher.
Well, of course
not
they
a-
are. It's the Punisher, dude. Like,
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the character in general. I did enjoy the show, but it wasn't something like I was like super hyped for. But
I
he
love
definitely
season 1
fits the
Punisher,
role.
where he's like just like rage monster, like screaming and breaking shit. You get like Doomslayer vibes from it, but like I'm so afraid that Disney's gonna just completely neuter him and make him just lame.
Absolutely.
John,
I will
John
fully admit
Bernthal
that.
is he's definitely perfect for the role. And
Mhm.
to be honest, I don't know what Disney's going to do because he's not a Disney character like that they would
No.
want to
I
bring
think
back.
that like
He's
they're
not on
gonna have
brand.
to accept at one point that they're gonna need to make like if you're gonna make a Punisher series or involve him, like you're gonna have to tier up a different level of shit for him because
No
he's
way.
I know, in no way it's gonna happen. Not in this phase, but maybe later.
This is one of the only things that I give serious props to the DC expanded universe for is that they're not pulling their punches. They're not afraid to show tough shit, even if it sucks.
that was the props I did give to Netflix back in the day, where it was like, "Yep, cool beans that you're going hard at it." Yeah, like
They went super
the
hard.
first episode, a
Yeah.
guy gets decapitated by a car door, and I was like, "Okay,
Mhm.
we are here for the
Right?
show." Okay,
Even before that,
Punisher-
a guy slams his head into a spike.
Yeah, Punisher crushes a man's face with weights.
Yeah.
you don't even
Like
remember that
holy
happening.
Jesus, like it is brutal, and I just don't think that Disney has the stones to do. And I'll give them credit where credit's due. They've been ramping it up a little bit with the gore, not just in this, but also in like Star Wars. They're showing shit that I never would have thought they would have shown.
I think maybe
But-
that is just prepping for the R-rated shows. To be fair, maybe they're trying to like drop it slowly, sort of integrate it rather than just drop it as a whole. If that
If
makes
Disney
sense.
releases an R-rated show, I will eat a hat.
I think they will. I think they're toying with the idea with the parental controls for Disney Plus because, like, we got to remember this is all for Disney Plus. That's their end goal is to get subscriptions.
What was
Well, Disney
have
used
the-
to do this.
What was Prey rated?
18.
18?
I think it was either
See-
15 or an 18.
In all honesty, like there was stuff in that movie that I was like, this is pretty like intense, but I was like, yeah, you can still watch this like normally.
Mhm.
Like that, I'm not that I would show like a young kid that movie, but I'd probably watch it when I was like watching Marvel movies too. I
Well,
don't
the standards for what is considered PG-13 and what is considered R. And I don't know if the ratings are the same where you guys are, but those standards have changed considerably since like the 80s and 90s.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Mhm.
PG-13 back in the day is what we call R now.
Yeah.
But I think so. Disney used to do this. That Disney owned Touchstone Pictures, which was Disney's way of releasing grittier, sometimes R-rated movies without having
the
their name
Disney-
on it.
Yeah.
And I
Well, now
wonder
they
if they're
have-
going to do something similar to that.
Yeah. Now they have 20th Century
Right.
Studios.
So they can release something that's still in their umbrella without having the Disney logo attached to it, so they can kind of play with it. And I wonder
Yeah,
if
I
they're
mean,
kind of gearing up for something like that.
Marvel stuff doesn't have to have the Disney brand
Right.
on it if it's not their family-friendly image. So yeah, I mean, if they do introduce Punisher, I expect them to introduce Punisher proper.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be it's not going to be promoted the same way as, you know, this is a family-friendly thing. We can sell toys and everything. It's going to be directed towards a more mature audience with parental control.
That
on
or
Disney Plus.
I see Punisher showing up as a side character a lot of the time where like they're not fighting people, so you can get away with a guy like blasting away like
Yeah,
aliens
they'll fight
and
robots instead.
robot. You know what I mean? Like I just think that kind of shit is what MCU Punisher would do. Like
Yeah,
we're not gonna
I
see
think
this
so
guy
too.
blast away a gang member's face or something like that. You know, it's just like, whoa, what the hell was that
Yeah.
suddenly, dude? Like we don't do
I don't
that here.
I don't see Punisher being a priority for Marvel. Like,
I don't
And
either.
I think you're absolutely right. If we see him show up, it's going to be in a crossover thing where he's fighting aliens and shit.
Yeah, like
with
where
his
it's
with his fists. I don't think he'll be using guns.
Nah,
because
man,
there's
Winter
such a
Soldier
huge-
uses guns. He shot the shit out of those aliens in Infinity
Yeah.
War.
I just
Black
think they're
Widow
going to
uses
tone it
guns.
down though, because the gun problem in the U.S. is at the forefront of everyone's attention right now.
And
And
yeah,
I don't
like
think they're
Punisher
gonna
is
want-
like the symbol of that in a sense for a lot
Right.
of people. Yeah, so
He's literally a symbol for that. Like you see that Punisher skull on the back of like a bunch of like
every
right wing
truck, yeah.
gun-toting trucks, and I think that they're going to want to tone that down.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And
the
if they give him a
creator,
gun, it's going to be like a pew pew laser gun or
yeah,
something.
the creator of the Punisher has spoken on it. How he hates that that symbol has been co-opted by people who clearly don't understand his position
don't
on
know the
Punisher.
Punisher.
Like, yeah, like the Punisher would not approve of those people using his
No.
symbol.
He'd
the
probably
Punisher
shoot
is
at them.
also supposed to be a character that we're not really supposed to approve of in the first place a lot of the time. Like,
No, he's
Exactly.
like most of the characters in the universe consider him a villain.
yeah, like
Mhm.
I remember in Civil War when like I think he was trying to join Cap's side or something like that, and Cap just like outright refuses him. And there's the whole thing there about like how he's like,
Because,
you're my hero, you know, and it's like,
because
fuck.
they were trying to recruit villains. Like, oh, the villains, like some of these villains are affected by the Registration Act, and they want to, like, they're turning over a new leaf. They want to help the heroes to get stuff back to normal, and that's when they were recruiting Punisher, and Punisher immediately gunned them down. He's like, and then Captain America fought him. He's like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" He's like, "What? They were villains." And I'm a really cool part of that comic, which we're not going to see in the movies, unfortunately, is where Cap's like fighting him, and he's like, "Fight back," and Punisher says, "No, not against you," because Captain America is like,
it's everything he
He's a
wants to
hero,
be.
Yeah.
There's even a Marvel DC crossover comic where the Punisher goes to Gotham and just starts mowing people down, and Batman
Oh,
beats
wow.
the bricks out of him. Like,
Yeah.
you're not bringing guns to my city, you freaking weirdo. Like, Batman looks at him as a villain the entire comic.
"Oh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know about that."
Yeah, I mean, like, because pretty much, that would almost be a way I could see it happening. And I know that they already played with that in Daredevil Season 2, that he's Daredevil's villain in that beginning arc, but I could see it again. I could see that happening with a bunch of characters where it's like, there's a guy going crazy that we have to stop. And yeah, especially with, I don't know if, like you said with Richard, today's climate thing, like they maybe don't want to tackle that, but maybe they do, like, because Disney's very like hit or miss on that front. I always feel like they tackle things, but
we're doing that thing where we want them to be better writers than they hire, and they're not going to have an intelligent message on gun control in a Punisher TV show. It's just not going to happen.
Like, I just don't trust it in a sense.
No, it's a much safer route to give him a pew pew laser gun or like a baseball bat and have him fight robots and aliens.
They kind of
or
try to address that a little bit in the first season.
Mm-hmm.
There's like that. There's a politician who was trying to implement stronger gun control, and there's like all these characters are like, no, having stricter gun controls not right, and there's that a little bit of a debate in there in the first season.
I could see them outright making Punisher a villain or like a character that we only hear about in like a newspaper clipping or something.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Punisher's a priority, and I don't think he's ever going to be reintroduced into the MCU.
No, if he is, I think John Bernthal will probably be casted as a Punisher again, but I don't think we should expect to see him anytime soon.
Not anytime
Has anybody ever even gotten shot in the MCU, like by a gun?
Yeah.
Well, like,
like Black Widow did in Winter Soldier.
It depends on the extent of what you mean by
Fury.
that. Like, because, like, do you mean on screen or off screen? Because, like, we always, like, Winter Soldier, like, shot a guy in the head, but then it cuts away to a different shot.
He shot people, and so people have been shot in Winter Soldier is the first thing that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
And like Iron Man, like Tony has like the gun in the third movie that he's going out the base with. He's shooting people with.
Captain America shoots people
guns
as well.
That's true.
That's what I mean, though, is we see guns shoot, but I don't know. I can't think of any moment where we see anyone actually get shot.
I think that you do in Iron Man 3.
Widow,
I think you do.
Black Widow, Nick Fury in Winter Soldier.
Yep.
Those are the two that come to mind.
And actually, even in Avengers, when like they're defending the helicarrier and they're getting invaded, you do see Nick Fury like shoot, people, and then like they go down. Like you see a couple people fall.
I'm pretty sure in the MCU, Daredevil and Spider-Man are the only characters that don't have a problem killing people. Everybody else has killed people.
Yeah, they're like, whatever, fuck it. Like, we just do that.
Yeah, it's wild how much they just completely disregard the no killing rule in the MCU. They don't give a single shit about that. People be dying.
I think it's those characters. I mean, we're starting to see like other characters show up now. Like, I don't think She-Hulk's gonna kill anybody. But
she might unintentionally. But I mean,
she might unintentionally. But I think the characters that Marvel had to work with at the beginning, those characters just don't have a problem with it. That's their character.
True. Fair enough.
Yeah, because it would be kind of hard for Iron Man, like a character like Iron Man, to not kill people. I find like where he's like
He
blasting
makes
like hand
weapons.
pulses like coming out of his hand. It's like, are these just like perfectly designed to like stun me, or are you like blasting a hole in my chest? Like I can't tell.
It's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I guess looking at the characters, most of the characters in the MCU really don't care about that. Like, of course, Iron Man's going to shoot people.
Well, and again, like like we're saying, a lot of the time they're going up against aliens and robots and other things. So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes they go up against terrorists and stuff. So
Yeah. Sometimes they go against Hydra. Yeah,
Hydra,
yeah.
What do you guys
Do you
think
wish
of?
they'd-
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I'm transitioning. You go ahead.
I do wish that they would lean a little bit harder because, like, sometimes Marvel comics get crazy. Like, they are violent sometimes.
Yeah.
And I know that they won't because it's Disney. But a part of me, like the little boy part of me that bought Spider-Man comics, would like to see shit hit the fan once or twice. You know, like I want to see the kind of stuff like the Hulk ripping Wolverine in half and throwing him across the state. Shit like
That was the Ultimate Comics, right?
I can't remember what comic it was. I've never been
Pretty sure
a
it was
huge.
Ultimates, yeah.
I've always read DC. I still read DC. Marvel has always kind of just been in my periphery. So I collected Spider-Man comics as a kid, and that was about it. And otherwise, I will pick up the occasional Marvel comic.
Yeah.
But I have always liked how Marvel was the one that did away with the Comics Code Authority and said, "Hey, we're going to get violent." And
Well,
I kind of
yeah.
I'd like to see them embrace that just a smidge.
Yeah, I think they really went away with the Comics Code Authority. I think in the one episode where they wanted to the character to have a drug problem or whatever in Spider-Man,
Mhm.
and they wanted to bring up that issue, and the Comics Code is like, no, we're not going to allow you to do that. And they're like, well, what if we don't go through you,
Yeah,
and we
don't need
submit
you.
this without the approval? Because what are you good for right now anyway? Because you're irrelevant now.
Yeah, I don't want to see, like Black Widow being like having her nose broken or anything. I just want to see a little bit more. I don't even know the right way to put this. Not even gore necessarily,
Grit
but
is like the other.
a little bit more grit. Yeah, like if somebody gets shot, they're gonna bleed. Like things like that.
Almost an element of realism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hate asking for realism in a goddamn comic book show.
I'll say that a lot of the gruesome stuff that you see does come from the Ultimate Comics, like Wolverine getting ripped in half. There's a point where the Wasp gets literally eaten alive by the Blob.
I read that one. That one's
there's this is all from like the same comic pretty much, but Magneto forces Iron Man to uses blasters against Wolverine so that his whole body burns and there's nothing left but his skeleton.
See, that's the stuff. I know that's like it's like taboo, but like when I was a kid, hearing about that kind of stuff was what made me think like, damn, dude, maybe I should read Marvel.
And then you'd get into an arc and be like, oh, this is not like that at all.
That comic was notoriously hated, by the way.
What would end up happening is I'd pick up a Marvel comic and be like, I don't know what the fuck is going on in this. I'm going back to Batman.
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I've always just enjoyed Marvel a little bit more, but because the only person I would go to in DC tends to be Batman. So
same, yeah.
That's a universal truth.
Like I just don't have a whole lot of draw to reading like Wonder Woman or Green Lantern or
I hear a lot of people who are more heavily invested in DC though, like only read Spider-Man comics from Marvel.
So it's exactly, it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think Spider-Man is probably the most DC hero in Marvel.
Because they're like, I think we said this a couple weeks ago too. Like, their rogues galleries, like they get pitted against each other always. Because like,
Batman and Spider-Man have like the biggest rogues gallery for sure.
They have multiple crossover comics too.
Yeah,
because they're the biggest characters from each company.
Yeah,
aside from Superman, but.
And even then, like, I mean, yeah, you can name like a few Superman villains. I mean, actually, now that I'm saying it, I can name like probably a bunch. But like,
I could name like all of them.
Yeah, but like, I guess Marvel just doesn't really. There's probably a couple people that have like as many villains. Captain America, maybe. Like, I'm struggling to think of it.
I can maybe name like 3 or 4 villains from like. Well, Spider-Man, I can name quite a few. But beyond Spider-Man, I can maybe name 2 villains from every character in Marvel.
That
Like,
we
if
haven't
you were-
seen on screen.
No, period. Like,
Period? Okay.
if you were to say like this is Captain America, name his villains, I could name 2.
Okay, go for it. Go for it. Like, name all of his villains that you can right now.
Baron Zemo and Red Skull. That's all I got. Those are the only 2 I knew from the comics. They're the only 2 I know in the MCU. I don't know Captain America's villains.
Honestly,
I could say the same
I'm
for almost everyone
struggling
Marvel.
right now as well.
What about Baron von Strucker from
Shit.
Age of Ultron?
You got me.
Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, yeah.
An entire film dedicated to that. Funny
Well,
enough.
shit, man, but he becomes a good guy.
There's
that doesn't
Nuke
count.
from Jessica Jones. I think he's
True,
Captain
true.
America film.
I really
right.
struggle with Marvel
Crossbones.
villains.
Crossbones, yeah.
Crossbones, yeah.
I wouldn't have known who Crossbones was until I saw that movie.
Oh, there's the Leaper, the guy who fought
Oh
with his...
yeah, fuck. Leleep. That guy in the Spider-Man animated show is the greatest character. Holy.
Only somewhat related, but the lily pad was dope.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to get to that, dude.
the
This-
frog-themed...
Let's finally
based.
get to the fucking actual, like, the namesake of the episode where it's like Ribbit and Rip It. It's like the... So, this guy's whole gimmick was awesome. I loved his outfit. I loved his lair. Like, holy crap.
Super hilarious, and I hate to tie this back in, but he felt more like a DC thing to me than a Marvel thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I can agree with you on that.
I've seen that, yeah.
I liked it. I liked it.
His entire character gave me. I don't know how many of you have watched Peacemaker, but it's very similar vibes to a character on that show.
Yeah, I would agree on that.
I still need
Very
to watch
fun though.
that
Had a
show,
blast
but,
with him.
But yeah, I've heard good
I
things
know what
about
character
it.
you're talking about, yeah. I haven't seen it yet either, but... Yeah,
He was a
like I said,
super fun character though.
I love making fun of D-list villains in or not even villains, like even heroes in like a comedy show like this. So yeah, I love that character. He's really funny.
I almost resent this show for making me enjoy that. But I really did. I really enjoyed it. I was actually laughing, which I haven't done in almost any other episode.
The courtroom scene though, like let's get back to Daredevil a little bit and tie into that character. That I really like that courtroom scene. The legal back and forth.
Fuck. I think Daredevil seemed like a competent lawyer, but again, it just makes me question, like, is Jen even a good lawyer? Because like he wasn't throwing hardballs at her. It's just basic lawyer stuff.
I think that to me was just even the show being self-aware at the different tones that they're gonna have in these shows. I think, you know, like where Jen is good in her world when she's doing lawyer shit in this setting, but the second that a real deal, like I'm gonna be in my court case in New York City character shows up, like I think that
Dude,
she gets
a part of my
her ass
soul
kicked.
like shriveled a little bit at that scene because I'm like, oh man, everyone's gonna think I only like this because there's a dude. Now I'm like,
No, well, I mean, it's
That's absolutely
Daredevil.
why we think you like it.
It's Daredevil. Like I think you get a pass there.
yeah.
Yeah, because fuck yeah, like I felt like of course she's gonna win here. Like actually, I think we were talking about that a few episodes ago too, where it's like we're worried that she's gonna beat him and make it a whole thing that like, oh look at me, I'm way better than Daredevil, but like nah. Like I immediately was like, this is gonna be a one and done.
Yeah. I'm actually glad they didn't take that route. That's what I was expecting, was for She-Hulk to just make Daredevil look like an idiot. And I'm so glad they didn't do that.
The inverse. Dude. They
That would have
tricked you,
been
Richard.
a bad decision. Yeah.
Real bad move. So who do you guys who do you guys think is going to be the final big CGI shitfest for the next episode?
I reckon Red Hulk.
Red Hulk, really?
I don't know, man. I don't think they can drop him like suddenly like that. I think
I
Well,
took the
think about it.
dialogue
Think
to
about it
like,
another way though, because they're setting up for Thunderbolts,
Yep.
right? So they don't necessarily have to put the human side of Red Hulk in there yet. So long as it's just Red Hulk, they're fine. They can get away with it, and it would make sense.
I don't know exactly how the ending is going to be. I am almost confident that the leader is going to show up as like the big main villain. But in terms of like a CGI fight, I don't know, because I don't expect the leader to fight.
like is he leading intelligentsia? Is what you think, or
Yeah.
okay?
Or it could be MODOK.
I don't think so. I think they're saving
Nah.
MODOK for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
It's gonna have to be. I mean, if this show ends without a big CGI fight, fucking
I'm not saying
kudos
it's
to
not
Marvel
going to
for finally
happen.
doing it.
I just don't know how it's going to happen or who the character is. Like
hope
we
it
might
doesn't.
we might see Josh return. Maybe he'll turn into a character of some sort. I have no idea who that the fetish guy is with the Wakandan spear. Like I feel like he has some sort of Todd. I just see his name on the screen now.
I hate him, dude, man. Oh,
Yeah, he's.
But I feel like he has like
his
some
face
sort of
smashed this episode.
there's going to be like some sort of twist to that character at the end that I'm like not expecting at this point. Like why does he keep showing up? There's got to be a reason.
I just think to show that he's a shitty guy and that he's still trying to get with Jen and
he's Mephisto.
Dude, don't even tempt me.
Todd is Mephisto. There we go. We got it. We figured it out.
Like, I like what you said. Actually, I can really see what was his name? The guy that took her blood and took the picture.
Josh.
Yeah, I could see Josh becoming Red Hulk or some bullshit like that. Like that could happen.
True.
Or
What
like
if-
any of
what
the
if
other
not?
ones, like A-Bomb or something like that. Like I don't know who the real A-Bomb is, but
What if the final villain is She-Hulk herself,
that's
and Abomination has to fight her to calm her down?
Now
oh
there
my
is
God!
in the comics there is a red She-Hulk.
There is actually, yeah, there is.
So it could be She-Hulk versus Red She-Hulk.
I actually,
Maybe she's fighting Madison or something.
dude. Okay, Richard, I like that idea actually a lot. That She-Hulk is the enemy at the end of this season.
Mm-hmm.
Like
we have to bring back Abomination because he's the only one there that's physically capable of bringing her back down.
and he
They would
knows how to
explain his
calm her
arc.
down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
It would explain his entire arc so far. It would subvert
That
our
would be
expectations. It would be
That would be
interesting.
really
Fuck, Richard, you just did a thing where because now they're not gonna do that, and I'm gonna hate
They're-
this next episode.
They are definitely not going to do that.
God
It is not
damn
going to
it,
happen.
Because I can actually, because I want her to be in rage for at least half of the next episode. Like,
Yeah.
if we cut back and it's immediately just like, figured out that situation, I'll be like, God
That
damn
would
it.
be Illustrator Universe She-Hulk. I fucking love that. That's perfect.
Oh boy.
Like, do you guys
Is
think
the
she's
Hulk gonna return for the last
No.
episode?
I think at the
No.
very, very end, maybe an after credit
And
scene even,
after
but I think at
credits,
the
yeah.
very end.
Post-credit scene for the last episode.
Which I even thought there was going to be one at the end of this episode. Like, I was like, they cannot do that to me, where they ended so good and don't do like they don't show a thing. Because I was like, damn, you went
what
hard.
about
I
Wolverine?
reckon it could be her best friend that ends up being the villain.
No,
What,
way.
Nikki?
Break my heart.
I reckon it could be. I don't know.
I
There's
hope
something about her.
Well, I
It's
mean,
gonna
when,
be the
when they said
trickster elf.
surprise twist, she did jump out all scary, like, so maybe, but I don't know. I think that was just like a joke.
Well, she jumped out with the Wolverine claws, but like with the brushes.
Yeah, exactly.
She's,
Maybe
she's
she's
Wolverine's
secretly
the villain.
Wolverine.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
I want it to be good. I expect that we're going to get a big dumb CGI fight, or if they don't go with it, which I really hope they don't do, that it's just going to fizzle out.
That's like, because okay, my biggest problem with these shows is when even Miss Marvel did this in a little bit for me, where like the second to last episode was like the episode, and then the last episode I was like, oh, this is just kind of like now the fizzle out episode that we're like,
Yeah, it just kind of ends.
you just kind
I
of
have-
settle. I don't know if I like that.
I have a
Yeah.
feeling that the discrediting thing that the intelligentsia is doing has worked. Maybe She-Hulk is in the DODC and her law firm fires her and says, "Hey, we can't be like, you can't represent us anymore." And she has like no other option. She ends up joining the Avengers. I don't know.
I just feel like that's such a jump. Like,
Yeah.
I think that she'd open up her own practice or some bullshit. I don't know if that's like I know that they did that in Daredevil or whatever. Like, I think that's how you can go, but I don't know. I think she has to stay lawyering in a certain extent.
She will be a part of the Avengers at some point.
Oh yeah, she'll be in like a mainline movie thing, but
Maybe she becomes the Avengers lawyer for all the damages and stuff. Do you think DODC?
That's great.
that
Yeah.
would be cool.
DODC have obviously come in now, haven't they? In place of Shield, and they're
Yeah, they're
constantly trying to
kind of
arrest people.
assholes.
They were
just,
right
like,
there, ready
attack
to go,
everybody.
Like that.
Yeah.
That was. I think they should be showing shit like that a little bit more, where like there's subtle things in the background where it shows that She-Hulk is never like safe. Like she not safe per se, but she's never unobserved. Like they're always there ready for her to go crazy green. Not just green, but crazy green.
Yeah.
It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
How did you guys... Yep.
No, I was just saying that's a good point. Like she could represent the people that the DODC go after. Because, yeah, she could be like the Avengers lawyer or the mutants lawyer or whatever.
I would love that if they went in that direction. How did you guys feel about the hallway scene reference in this episode? I thought that was like when I saw or when I was telling Paris beside me when we were watching, I was like, guaranteed this episode is gonna have a hallway fight. And then 2 fucking scenes later, pretty much, I was like, there it is. It's the hallway.
That was pretty neat. It was pretty fun. I especially liked before that scene where She-Hulk is like, I'm going to show you how I do it. And Daredevil's like, you don't do it. This isn't what you do.
I really like, man, that was a good, like, actual emotional jab at Jen, I feel. You know, where it's like,
it was good. It was nice to see Jen get called out for just being wrong.
You could be, he even said in the bar where it's like, you could be doing a lot more to like help what the law can't do. Like as She-Hulk, you know what I mean? Like that was a good like little kick in the ass for her, I think, that she needed.
This whole episode, and I know that there's going to be so many people out there that are saying like, this is the point of the show. But this whole episode finally made Jen likable to a small degree for me. And you know, my biggest complaint with Jen has been so far that she doesn't have a hero's journey. And now I guess I'm kind of seeing that this is her hero's journey. I just think it's still handled very poorly.
I like the discussion between for the differences between henchmen and goons.
Yeah,
that was fun.
That was clever, yeah. Because it was the fact that it was like she's just like, oh, yeah, but there's just so many henchmen and goons in there, and he's like, no. There's just goons in there. There's a
I may be wrong, but I think that's a callback to the Daredevil show. I vaguely remember that conversation happening before, but I could also just be making this shit up. Who knows?
It's possible.
As someone who's been rewatching the show, I don't recall that, and at least for the first 2 seasons.
Gotcha. I'm probably just so filled with anger for this show that I just made some shit up in my head.
You were like, this would make that a lot better, so I'm gonna believe that.
Yeah.
It's the only way it's gonna be sanity. Like it's the only way sanity wise it's gonna work for you.
Yeah. This is the first episode of this show that I've watched twice though, and that says something.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
Richard.
Damn, Richard.
The first time I watched it, my initial reaction, I even wrote this down, was I fucking love this.
Wow.
And then on the second watch, I backspace that line out.
Well, it's nice that it was there at least in the beginning. I'll take that.
It was exciting. The episode was exciting, and the show desperately needed that.
If this energy had been in the rest of the season, we maybe would have liked the show. But now it's getting to that point where it's like, I can only like it so much when there's only one more episode. Like, you have to do crazy
It's too little,
things.
too late.
Yeah, you have
too little, too late.
You'd have to throw Abomination in it and talking to Jen down. Like, that's the crazy shit that'll have to happen.
I think they are, because I think there's a scene with Abomination in the trailers that we haven't seen yet.
No way. Are we right about this?
I'm pretty sure Abomination's going to show up.
What do you mean, are we right about this?
Are you right about this? Sorry, are you right about this?
Sir. Yes, sir. Give me my credit, baby.
Credit for your awesome idea.
I don't know if She-Hulk's going to be fighting Abomination. I know that Abomination's going to appear.
If this happens, I'm sending my resume to Marvel.
The dialogue between the goons alone, like while they were fighting the hallway, was hilarious. Though I gotta say, like that's why, like, because I can't pay attention to that kind of stuff when I'm just watching without subtitles. But when I have subtitles on and you're seeing all these things being said in the background, it's amazing.
They're talking about them being called tadpoles or something like that.
Yeah. Like they were like, he's like, I ain't gonna be. I might like the frog, but I ain't love him enough to be called a tadpole or something like that.
He's like, do you not know where baby frogs come from?
Like that kind of thing, like that's great. Like that is such a funny little like, because I always love in the comics when you just get like, you get those blurbs of what the goons are saying and how like goofy their lives are in reality, right?
It makes me wonder, and I'm kind of tempted to go back and look at the credits and see if this episode had the same writing team, or if there were like additions to the writing team for this episode.
I don't think. I think from like previous shows, they go. It's not one specific writer or director. They
Yeah.
they usually switch things up per episode.
Depending on the show and stuff, right? Because like I think
Yeah.
Obi-Wan was handled mostly by Deborah Chow and stuff
But
like that. So
also, but the Mandalorian was like
there's many different
people.
directors, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it just depends on the show. Like I think this one probably is very different. Like I think episode to episode, it's always it hasn't felt consistent. I'll say that, and that's not really a compliment
definitely
at
not.
all. So
No.
it's been
Yeah,
very jarring.
It doesn't feel consistent, and it doesn't feel like there's any real direction at all until this episode. And it's like, damn, you guys waited. What was this, episode 8?
This is episode 8. This is the second last episode.
8 episodes. 8 episodes in
And
to get
really
anything.
wasn't going anywhere until the end of the episode.
Right.
Yeah, so like it's to set up the last episode. The whole point of the show is the last episode, and the episode before that is the setup for it, and also a really cool cameo that everybody. Let's be honest, most people watching the show were watching it for this.
For sure. Absolutely. I think, man, how it would pull all of the bad writing of this show in the bad direction into a safer place for me if it turns out like the reason we're not getting a real threat and a real villain is because Intelligentsia isn't a real threat and a real villain, and She-Hulk is. It would be that would save face for this show for me, is if they change it up, like make it so that the real villain of the show is unfortunately She-Hulk.
That would be so ballsy, and I don't think they're going to do that.
No, considering
no
that the leader is going to be a big villain in the Captain America movie, and I'm pretty sure he has ties to the Intelligentsia in the comics, and they're setting this up before the movie. I think we're going to see the leader.
Kill me.
Kill me.
Fry this egg.
Just take me out of this. Stop connecting it.
It's pain for Richard. That's all it is.
It really is. It really is.
Are you saying you're not excited to see She-Hulk and Captain America: New World Order?
No, I am
Wait,
not.
is that when, like, do we know that she's in that?
No,
Okay,
I
I was
don't.
about to be like,
She is.
God
I mean,
damn.
she could be, but I don't know. I really
She
don't know
could
what's
be,
next
man.
for the
Like,
character.
just, because with this guy, that's the thing that I have with Moon Knight and She-Hulk right now. I'm in a limbo state with both these characters where I'm like, where are you gonna goddamn sneak up in the next goddamn appearance?
Oh,
Where are you?
Moon Knight ain't coming back, dog.
Well, I think this Moon Knight could, to be honest, probably going to show up in the second season.
I hope that, I hope that they actually properly announce season 2 of Moon Knight or something like that, because I'd love to see it. I love that show. But could totally see him just showing up in a movie randomly too and being like, "Hey, it's Moon Knight. I hope you watch that show."
Yeah.
Hey, it's me, the freaking Gabagoo.
Well, even like Red Hulk, I think like this show is setting up Red Hulk for Captain America, and I think even that is just setting up that character for Thunderbolts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just a lot of like setup stuff.
Reminding myself too that Sam is Captain America now too.
Yeah, Sam is Captain
Yeah.
America.
I have to keep reminding. How the hell is Captain America Sam going to fight Red Hulk?
I'm sure he's gonna have some help.
He's gonna have to have some help.
He's
He's gonna
He's
die.
gonna fly away and then
I don't know if
shoot
he's
from
gonna
a distance.
I don't know if he's gonna fight Red Hulk, because Red Hulk's kind of like he's mostly a hero, like he's mostly an Avenger,
Yeah.
but sometimes he's not always that.
Am I crazy, or does Red Hulk still have the mustache? Like, is that a thing?
Yeah, no, he has a mustache.
Okay.
I think sometimes. I think it depends on the comic.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember that. Because I'm like, I mostly remember a mustache. I swear. Because if they pull that off, I would love that. Holy shit! Red
Just
Hulk
posted
with a
into the
mustache.
Last 20 seconds of the final She-Hulk episode, we see her slowly turn to the camera, and as she de-hulks, when the transformation is done, it's Loki.
Oh my god, dude! I'd be like, this show definitely just wasted my time.
I would throw my shoe through my TV and leave. I would never talk to another soul on this earth again.
Marvel shows would be done for me. I'd be like, nope, you ruined it. I
Nikki
can't
is
deal with it.
Mephisto.
I
Oh
can't
my
do it anymore.
God.
It's so funny to me too, because like I've been vocal about how much I hate how everything is tied together in the Marvel universe, and I wish that they would untie a little bit. But on the flip side, the DCEU has the opposite problem, where it's like, can you guys get your shit together and connect these things?
Yeah, like, are these things really together, or what even is this? This is a very amorphous blob that we're dealing with of a film.
I think you can have both sides, because She-Hulk is definitely a show that is intended to tie things together, whereas Moon Knight was intended to not do that. and for their part,
Fair.
that's what they did.
Yeah, it was like very
Sure.
separate. Like you could pretty much not like it. Pretty much, I don't think there was a single mention. I mean, they said the astral, or no, they said the ancestral plane.
Ancestral plane, and then there was the global appropriation console or whatever it was, the poster for that on a bus, and that's
like
it.
very subtle things, like so very like disconnected. And I don't know if that was an aspect of the show that I loved per se. Like it's not like I was picking at that as something that I was liking the show for, but it's a cool aspect of it nonetheless. Like I think that
Did you
I
catch?
get kind of frustrated by it. Where like in Moon Knight's final episode, we have a giant kaiju fight in Cairo, and no one says anything about it ever again.
Well, I think those kind of things should get brought up. Like if we don't ever fucking hear about I get we saw the news article in this show. I need to at one point visually see that fucking celestial that is coming out of the Indian Ocean.
When are they going to go there?
Well, they fly over it in a Quinjet or some bullshit. I don't know.
What on their? So in the next like Avengers movie, they're going to fight the villain. They're like, oh, it's it's in another place or whatever, and they're flying across. Like, hey, look out the window. What's with the hand?
They don't gotta bring attention to it. All they gotta do is show it in like a wide shot or something like that. Like you can show these events that are like still cool. I think like that's all I want.
Qui-Gon's Force Ghost calms down She-Hulk as she's berserk. We find out she's Force sensitive.
Dude,
get the hell out of here, Joe.
She ignites her lightsaber and it's Red Hulk.
Did you catch the other big MCU reference that we haven't talked about yet in the show?
No.
Rogers the Musical has made it to LA.
Oh, fuck off, man. Like, did I talk about that yet? That shit pissed me off, man.
I hate
The musical?
Hawkeye's, like, that whole end credit scene, I was waiting. I was like, okay, like, this is going to lead into, like, something, though, right? Fucking nothing.
Dude, awful end credit scene, but the song is fire, though.
Yeah, sure, beans, but, like, I would have at least liked to see, like, old Cap in the audience and he'd be like, that sucked, or something like that. Like, I would have been like, that was funny. But it was just the song. I was like, what? What am I here for? This show already was kind of ass.
I think I'd already given up on that show by the time I got to that scene, so I just kind of enjoyed it.
See, and it was, if anything, it made me sour. It made me...
Funny thing is, I like that show. Like, I didn't like how they handled Kingpin, but otherwise, I mostly enjoyed the Hawkeye show. I thought it was fun, mostly because I just think that... Show. Like Clint, what's the guy that plays him? What's his name?
Jeremy
Renner.
Jeremy Renner. I just think is a fun guy. Like his acting, I think, kind of elevates what is otherwise bad writing.
Yeah, I love that show because it's like especially for the time, it was around Christmas, and it very much felt like a Christmas show, and I enjoyed.
Yeah, for sure. I also watched the last couple
Bishop.
episodes with my family. You know, like on Christmas. It was great.
The only thing that I liked out of that show was Kate Bishop and Yelena. Their dynamic together was
great. Yeah, it was
amazing.
Fun.
Like the way
I can't wait to see more of them.
Me too. Yeah. Like when they show up again together, I will be glued.
Yeah, give them babies.
Fun fact: Haley Steinfeld is my celebrity crush. I love you. Actually, I would also say that. What's her name? Like Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh. Yeah.
You are also up there. So both of you.
Yeah, and
you call
for me, Jeremy Renner, what's up, dude? You want to hang out? Let me know.
Get us into contact, please. I don't know, and then Richard will do anything apparently for you. So
I will kiss you on your cheekbones.
Okay, I thought you were going a very different direction with that, but okay.
I will just lick them cheekbones.
Stop saying these words.
Get me out of here.
We know that Yelena is going to be in Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Kate, where's Kate going to show up other
Kate's
than
going to
Young
show up
Avengers?
in Young Avengers. That's where she's showing up. And Richard, you're going to hate that movie, just like by default.
100%. Honestly, dude, I'm just
of kids being like millennial kids, and you're gonna fucking hate it.
If they were millennial kids,
Actually,
probably
no.
not. If they were Zoomer kids, yeah, I'm gonna hate it. Look, I'm just not excited about anything in the MCU right now. Phase 4 has just been a complete dud for me, and everything that I watch in it makes me progressively hate it more. Even if there's like defining moments in a show like what we just got with She-Hulk, where it's like, okay, this is entertaining. I still don't give a single shit about what's happening in Phase 4 Marvel. I just don't care, and I don't think anybody cares.
Are you looking forward to Black Panther?
A little.
Yo,
I want to see if they do it better than the first one. I'm actually of the mind that the first Black Panther movie fucking sucked.
the first Black Panther movie was very meh for me. If I'm being honest, like that movie was very
same.
middle-range.
We are definitely in the minority. Like I thought it was a good movie.
I thought it was decent.
I'm not. A lot of people think it's like the best movie of the MCU, and I'm definitely not of that
crazy
mind.
town. I feel like it's like a B tier MCU.
Because
movie.
like that year they were going for like I remember hearing people being like, this should be running for the Oscars, and I was like, no.
I have a feeling that I'm gonna like Black Panther: Wakanda Forever like the most out of anything from Phase 4.
It feels like it, honestly. Like that new trailer that came out was fucking awesome. I wasn't really like huge on the first trailer that they showed, but like this one, holy crap! Like this movie looks awesome. I'm excited.
I do wish they would have gone like a different direction with Namor's look.
I like
it. Just feels. I like it too. That's my problem with it.
It's so much better than the comics.
No, I agree. I wish they would have taken a different direction with it, though, only because it feels like they just straight up ripped off Jason Momoa Aquaman.
No, I feel
it's
like that
the
they
same
were like.
thing.
You think he should have had like an armored suit or something?
I don't know. I don't know what the good direction would have been.
It? Because like they were trying to go away from Atlantean like that aesthetic, whereas this one they're going with more of like the Aztec like vibe, isn't it? Like,
well, that's what I mean though. Is like they like when we take like Aquaman, you know, making Jason Momoa Aquaman was like, now we're gonna make Aquaman like have like a more of a
Maori.
Pacific Islander kind of culture to him. And I feel like they did the exact same thing with Namor, and it's like you guys just copied DC's homework here. Which, you know, Marvel and DC have always done that.
Sure.
So I don't care, but I think he looks cool. I just think he looks like Aquaman's cousin. You know? Like I would have liked them to go a different direction. Definitely not the comics. I hate Namor in the comics.
Yeah.
But a different look for him would have been nice.
There's like the shot from the new trailer where it shows like the window in Wakanda and like Namor like flying up to it with his like stupid little shoes or whatever. Like, they're goofy, but like it shows him like literally roll up to that window and smash it almost, and I'm like,
stupid little shoes,
stupid little shoes, stupid little.
Doesn't he actually? Like they're real wings, right? Isn't that one of his things?
Yeah,
like he has actual wings on his feet.
Oh yeah, I thought they were shoes.
No, he's a mutant.
Oh yeah, he's a mutant, but I figured his mutant thing was more the underwater aspects, not like flying little feet.
No, it's his little dumb shoes.
Yeah, he has wings on his feet.
Wait a minute. Somebody explain to me what his powers are. Like, wait a minute. What
he has a lot.
Because like, no, but is it just that, and then the other aspects are like, yeah, you were given that because you're an Atlantean. Like, what do we say here?
Yeah,
he is super strong, and he hates oil spills.
But he has wings on his feet. That's like his mutant ability.
So okay, he is an Atlantean.
Yep,
so that defines all of his powers. But he is a mutant Atlantean, which gives him the wings.
That is the dumbest Marvel. Hey man, change that shit right now. Like I know you probably are for this movie.
He is Aquaman, but with wings on his feet.
Just fucking change that, because that is bad.
Well, that's the funny thing. That is the change, because initially, because he's one of the first Marvel characters. Initially, he was just an Atlantean dude with weird, goofy wings on his feet, and then they retroactively were like, he's a mutant."
Yep.
Yeah, but like, can we just make them like
also,
sandals or something?
He was also created before Aquaman. Like Aquaman was after.
Just slightly.
Like
it's like there's like a 2-year difference.
I don't hold up. Now I'm gonna go back through this trailer. I need to see if. Is it
when he was born? Like they showed his birth. He had the wings on his feet.
Oh,
when he was born. Too.
God, no!
Yep,
that's always been the character.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah, if he's zipping and zooping through the air, dude, that's not tech. That's his dumb little wings.
I thought it was like Atlantean, like tech or something like that. Like that they had gotten that from. Well, not Atlantean, I guess in this case, but like wherever.
Namor sucks.
Honestly, you just went down a little bit more in ratings for me, Namor, because of your stupid wing feet. Ugh.
Yeah, dude, I know I'm a DC shill, but like everything that Namor does, Aquaman does cooler.
Yeah. Yes. I will absolutely agree.
But he's not I mean, he's sometimes a hero, but he's usually a villain.
He's a shitbag. Yeah. Like he's just an ass all the time. Even when he's being nice, he's being mean.
He's always hitting on Mr. Fantastic's wife.
He's pretty much exactly the character that they parodied on Rick and Morty.
Yeah, really. What the hell was that guy's name again?
Like Mr. Oceanic, or I don't remember his name, but That's literally just Namor. He's just an asshole.
Just an annoying asshole guy that shows up, gets the Phoenix Force, and you're like, God damn it, you're even more annoying now.
Yeah, dude, nobody likes Namor. Even Marvel fans don't like Namor. Namor sucks.
I like his like the Avengers vs X-Men story that leads to the conflict with Wakanda, which this movie is definitely tying into. So that's why I'm excited. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the character.
Even Marvel characters don't like Namor.
No, the only one is Captain America. Like he's the only one who tolerates him.
And tolerate, like that's the
shithead.
specific word that we're using. Yeah.
Yeah, like every time Namor shows up in a panel, like you can see in the art, every character's like audibly groaning.
Do you guys have any other closing thoughts that you want to say about She-Hulk, or what do you?
I hope the last episode's good.
I hope they land it.
I don't know where it's
also
going.
Hope they land it.
But
I wish AJ were here to have heard me actually praise this show for once.
I don't know.
AJ did like the episode. He did like it. So
I feel like he would have screened us again. So you know, maybe it's nice. Maybe it's nice.
I actually, because like that whole discussion happened, and then AJ and I were like scared for your response, Richard. But he immediately like texted me after watching the episode. He was like, "Dude, that was great." And I was like, right? Like, what the hell? Like, that was the actual energy that I wanted from this show.
Yep. We'll see if they stick the landing. I don't think they will, though.
1 out of 8. That's a failing grade. So.
Yep.
I'll remain the plucky optimist in this stream for once and say, I reckon they'll do a okay job. I reckon they'll do a decent enough job to pass it. But I agree with you, Sam. Like, 2 out of 8 episodes of a series being good, that's an awful series.
And oh man, because that's just been like a repeated thing for me on all these shows. Like I feel like the last episode of all of the Marvel shows, I always am like, well, now I have a sour taste because something happened that I'm always like, you fucked it, you fucked the pooch there, buddy.
I think the only 1 or 2 that haven't so far, at least in my opinion, you might disagree, is Loki and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Like, they ended how they mean to go on, if that makes sense.
Ending, yeah, I did like Loki's ending because it was just a conversation, and I liked that.
Yeah, it was a good ending.
But Falcon and the Winter Soldier, my problem was just that it was so meh through the whole thing that I found the last episode just be very meh. Like, that I was like, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for me, the series meant more to me on a personal level as opposed to, like, storytelling, if that makes sense. So I think I was a little biased towards the quality of it. Same with Black Panther. I ultimately it's a crap film, but it meant a lot for cinema, if that makes sense. So I think that's why I'm a little biased.
Well, that's my. I'm not sure how to phrase this properly, but even if we go down to like the sort of like political messages that She-Hulk is putting out there, I agree with them 100%. But this isn't how you go about it. It just comes across as like kind of gross and slimy,
arrogant in a way.
Extremely arrogant.
Very self-righteous in a way that's like you're not actually helping here. You're making it worse.
Right. So that's why I think that the final episode is going to be She-Hulk fighting a man wearing like a tap-out shirt and just defeating toxic masculinity once and for all.
Which I don't necessarily have a problem with, but like you just said, there is a way of doing it. Like this isn't necessarily the way you should possibly tackle that situation.
No, this is how you end up splitting
people in half, really.
People right in half and making some people mad and some people praising it, and it just ends up as a mess. And I think,
then
unfortunately,
you also see the 2 sides of it. It's a sticky situation because we're all in a situation where fundamentally we agree, but the way it's done makes us sort of sit on the side and go, well, this is shit. And you're going to get people that are like, this is absolutely amazing. And you're like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Well, that's the thing, though. I think the reality is, though, that we're all coming from a place where we like have our fingers on the pulse of all of like the internet drama going on around this stuff. But there are people just watching the show who don't give a shit. And
for sure.
And I think that we're, just like you're saying, Richard, there are people who are like praising it and then there are people hating it. And I feel like we sit somewhere like in the middle where we're just like, man, this show like has moments, but for the most part just kind of sucks. I think that's probably where most people sit. Most people are probably just very middled on this show.
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking at it. more positive than you guys.
Yeah.
I haven't hated the show. I definitely think it's the worst of Phase 4. But
I don't hate it. Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not hating it. I'm actually enjoying it for the most part. Watching the show. There's the one episode I thought was terrible. But otherwise, I've been enjoying it. It's not my favorite thing, but whatever.
Yeah. Hope it sticks the landing. So unless you guys have any other closing thoughts, I'm ready to raid into somebody.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's right.
Next time you see us, actually, we should talk about. We'll have to talk about this behind the scenes at 1.2, but we want to talk about Werewolf by Night because I haven't seen that yet. I'm probably gonna be watching it on Monday.
I'm hoping to watch it tomorrow.
I'm watching it. Is it out now?
It's out, dude. It came out on Friday.
Oh boy, watching that tonight.
Oh, I'm jealous. Shit.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Let me know if you like that though. Like, give me at least a thumbs up or something like that, just at random. I need to know
For sure. Just from the trailer alone, I can almost guarantee I'm gonna like it.
Ooh, baby, and then don't get your hopes up.
I think it has a high Rotten Tomatoes rating, right?
I actually heard. I don't want to
give
give this movie any super praise per se before I see it, but Chris Stuckman, a reviewer that I watch, he said he saw it at Fantastic Fest. They do like a premiere screening thing there and for random movies, and sometimes it'll be like a thing that's not coming up for months, right? So apparently the audience was super bummed out audibly that it was Werewolf by Night, which was coming out like in a few days from then.
Mhm.
But like he said it was crazy to see that the audience was deflated by the announcement that it was going to be that movie, only to be brought back around by the end of the movie that they thought it was awesome. Like there were people coming out of that movie going like, that was actually incredible, apparently.
That makes me so happy to hear.
It makes me go like, ooh, baby. Can't wait.
Yeah, right. We'll talk about it soon.
We'll talk about it soon.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that we can talk about that either next week or the week following that. But yeah, we'll figure it out because we do got a lot of shows going right now. This one's going to be coming to an end, and then we'll have our Rings of Power discussion on the 22nd with Richard, AJ, and me. Don't know if anyone else is watching Rings of Power right now that we could bring on to the show, but I think us alone will be enough to yell at each other for a solid 3 hours, probably. So
I expect me and AJ will be at each other's throats that entire episode.
That'll be a yelling one. So get your throats ready.
That's what I call damn good television, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between.
Don't ever tell me to get my throat ready, dude.
At least not here.
Sorry, Richard. I'm sorry. But next week we'll be back with House of the Dragon on Wednesday, Andor on Thursday, Roro stream on Friday again. We just had our first one back yesterday. We're also planning on doing a Phasmophobia stream for Halloween and the Spooks. And then we'll be back with She-Hulk episode 9, the final of the season next week. And I think AJ will be back, so we'll be a full roster, I think, next week. We'll see what everyone thinks.
Yeah.
We're going to be raiding into Sensei Suplex. They're currently playing D&D. I think they're playing a spooky-themed campaign thing.
Follow that guy. He's great.
Yeah, follow him, man.
He's great. Good guy.
Good guy. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Maclunkey!
She-Hulk smash.
Maclunkey.